however, were up by 81% on quarter-on-quarter basis, whereas the sales price realization reduced by around 14% on year-on-year basis, which impacted the earnings of the company negatively. The company anticipates prices to recover and sales volume to get normalized gradually in coming 2 to 3 quarters. Exports decreased by 25% on quarter-on-quarter basis and by 85% on year-on-year basis. Gross margins have reduced by around 1.7% on quarter-on-quarter basis and 5.4% on year-on-year basis to 29.8%. Finance cost has been lower during the current quarter by around 14% on year-on-year basis, mainly because of lower amount of finance charges pertaining to discounting of LCs and other bank charges. The payable cycle, which had increased earlier from 300 to 390 days during Q1 FY21, now has been brought down to 248 days in Q2 FY21. Similarly, collection period has increased, which had increased earlier to 233 days in Q1, which has reduced now to 132 days in Q2. Inventory holding has been around 84 days, which is in normal times used to be around 30 days. The elongated working capital cycle shall normalize once the sales volume increases. The company anticipates normalized working capital cycle of around 60 to 75 days of receivables, around 90 days payable, and 35 to 40 days of inventory holding gradually in the coming 2 quarters before the end of this financial year. For the quarterly performance of the company on a standalone basis, operational income for the quarter was around 111 crore, which degrew by 56% on year-on-year basis. EBITDA was reported a loss of 20 crore. The decline was due to lockdown, which affected revenues and correspondingly the fixed overheads could not be absorbed. Thereafter impacting EBITDA, net profit after tax stood to around 31 crore negative. Since the operational expenses include legal expenses towards continuing litigation in the matter of Daistar at Singapore International Commercial Court as well as Singapore Supreme Court, the earnings of the company have been impacted by huge litigation expenses in this quarter in relation to stake of Kiri in Daistar. On a consolidated basis for Q2 FY21, operational income for the quarter was around 175 crore, which decreased by 46%. EBITDA reported a loss of 20 lakhs, which is a very nominal loss, and net profit after tax stood at around 17 crore negative. Lastly, with regards to update on Kiri suit in matter of Daistar, as we reported earlier, hearings for the valuation of Kiri stake in Daistar and the submissions, including closing arguments, were completed on July 1st, 2020, and judgment was reserved on the same date. We are expecting the judgment to be delivered at any time in the current quarter, and we are highly hopeful that the judgment can come at the earliest possible. I would also like to repeat what we have mentioned earlier, that the valuation of Kiri stake of Daistar shall be crystallized based on the financial position of Daistar as on effective date of July 3rd, 2018, which is the judgment date, which was determined by the court in the buyout order of Singapore International Court. Hence, the financials of Daistar post July 3, 2018 will not have impact on the valuation of Kiri stake on Daistar and on the buyout order for Kiri stake by the court. The company has succeeded significantly in the appeal, which was filed by the company against Daistar in the Supreme Court of Singapore, and that helped the company with this new appeal order, which has reduced damages by almost half than the earlier award, which was given to Daistar by SICC. So, company had significant victory in the last appeal. Again, this was announced, and I'm just trying to repeat for your knowledge. Now, I'd like to keep the floor open for the questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and one on the touchtone telephone. If you wish to withdraw yourself from the question queue, you may press star and two. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Radhakrishna Doradla from Wealthmore Capital. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, Radhakrishna.
Yes, sir. Anything we can expect on the expansion side, sir? Have we started our work or it is connected with the Dystar like that, sir?
Sorry, you mean to be relating to the Dystar court order or the expected judgment, or I'm sorry.
No, sir. I was asking our company was having expansion plans in Gujarat with the new capacities and all. So have we started any work with respect to these new expansions, or we are waiting for anything like that, sir?
No, the expansion is almost at the verge of completion, and I am pleased to mention that we are starting the new expanded plant from 1st of December. So post immediate Diwali, we would have our new expanded, the new facility of specialty chemicals would be operational from 1st of December. As we speak, right now the trials are already in process, and we are in the final stage of starting commercial production. So hopefully we should be up and running from 1st December.
Okay. Sir, one more small thing, sir. So in this Dystar judgment, I think from first week or second week onwards, we are having the Singapore court holidays. So can we expect before that, or it is a better way to wait from the court side only?
I think only court can guide us whenever the judgment is announced. And we have been highly expecting, as it has been more than 4 months past since the trial was closed. And we are now almost at 4.5 months, in fact. And because of the time that has passed, but we are sure that the court must be doing its own diligence and judges must be involved prudently in giving the judgment. So we expect the judgment should come at any time, and we are hopeful for that.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Jaju from Tycoon Mindset. Please go ahead.
Hello. Greetings, team. Sir, I just want to know, in the past 2 quarters, you have been focusing on, to expand in other chemicals as well. Like you mentioned, for the aniline, we have taken our EC approval. So, had we given any thoughts to where we are going to expand, like in May 2021, so from March 2021?
I think those new projects which we have scrutinized and are planning to implement would start only after the receipt of Dystar proceed funds, right?
Okay.
So our groundwork, our paperwork, all related internal work would continue till that time. But once the funds are available and once the proceeds are with company, then we will embark on implementing those projects. Till that time, we will wait and we will try to improve our workings internally. I think that's what we are doing right now.
Okay. And so second question on the recent textile market, which have been, still at the slumpy pace. How do we expect for the next 2-3 quarters? Like, will it be a revival, or and whether the textile market will have a share of Bangladesh, other countries, so that we can have our chemical sales as well?
Yes, you have rightly asked this question, and one of the reasons that the financials have been down is the dependency on textile and the link of dyes business with textile. Assuming the trend which we are having right now continue for the next quarter or two, we would see an increasing demand. We have seen month-on-month increase. I think in this quarter, India's export will also resume to the original level of pre-pandemic, looking at the rates which we are seeing now. So the exports are coming back. Sales are coming back better than what we expected earlier. And we will see that the recovery would be faster. So we are quite optimistic for the current quarter, where we have order book, which is now till the end of December. We will be able to operate at a decent capacities in this quarter, and hopefully this speedy revival should continue in the next quarter too. So let's hope that the positive increasing trend continues.
Okay. So, sir, do you expect like the special, because if we are having a downward in the pricing of the acid and vinyl sulfone, so do you expect like that specialty chemicals to support us in our gross margins or to sustain our gross margins, because the pricing of the normal chemicals are going down? So do we expect the specialty chemicals to have sustainability in the gross margin?
Exactly. So our gross margin as well as our EBITDA, you will see them improving from 1st of December onwards, as soon as the new products are added. And that was the objective earlier, and that will happen as a better product mix from the end of this quarter, and of course next quarter we will have better margins from specialty intermediates. It's definitely going to happen. You will see that. So,
sir, can you name the specialty chemicals for which we are going to start our production?
Well, there are several of those. I may not be able to go into each of them because certain products also maintain some confidentiality. But those are the products which would be almost 70-80% Chinese import replacements.
Okay. So in the textile segment or in the dyes segment, or it will be some other segment?
These are two segments. One also is a dye segment as an intermediate, and it will also go into agrochemicals, and some of the products will be used in cosmetics as the raw materials too. So those intermediates would go not only to final textile segment, but other diversified segments too.
Okay. So our product mix will be improved with variety of chemicals added, right?
Yes, it will improve, and the product basket would expand. Better margins will have, even though the volumes may be lesser because the quantum would be less. Unit price realization would also improve.
Unit price, okay, sir. That's it from my side. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Murthy Raju, an individual investor. Please go ahead. Murthy Raju, line is unmuted. Please go ahead with the question.
Sir, good afternoon. This is Murthy from Hyderabad. Sir, you have projected around 2,000 crores of turnover per year from this year. So where are we currently on that line? By when we can reach our 2,000 crore target of this turnover from these existing operations?
I think COVID has delayed us at least for 1 year, right? So we would need at least 1 year gap in between to come back to that number which we wish to achieve, which means that we would be almost doubling our standalone turnover.
Yes, sir.
Which we can do from our existing assets, from the new expanded facilities which are just starting. But that can happen at the earliest in 22-23 and not in 21-22, right? So I think we have to have 1 year gap in between because we have to forget this year and see how we can ramp up in the coming 2 years. But what you are asking is virtually doubling our numbers where we are.
Yes. See, my second question is, you are continuously showing your that what you call court fees and lawyer fees, that is legal expenses.
Yeah.
So it is every time you are almost every quarter you are showing what is the total amount you have spent as of date towards the legal expenses, sir. We are really worried about that numbers from every quarter in the last at least 8 quarters. So how long we are going to have this kind of legal expenses in the coming?
Right. See, most of the legal work got completed when the trial got over, but the invoicing of the lawyers came in subsequent months, and that's why post of 1st July in the second quarter we saw another round of expenses from the legal team at Singapore. But that was the end of the major fees. Now only few side cases are going on from this quarter onwards. So almost I would say 70-80% of what we have been having this legal cost since last 8 quarters, as you mentioned, right, would now significantly drop from the current quarter. Okay. So because the valuation trial was the most important and where the highest expenses have taken place. But from this quarter onwards, we will not have those high legal costs. But to ask the exact number, it has been continuously under compilation. Okay, and it would be submitted to the court. I would request you to wait till we file our submissions to the court, and post that you will have in the announcement. But let's wait till our compilation is over. But as we have reported in all these quarters, the amounts are substantially large.
Okay, thank you, sir.
And one point you should also understand is the court has awarded Kiri to receive its full legal cost and expenses. That has already been upheld by Supreme Court related to the valuation case and the minority operation case. So we hope to have this number as soon as we are completing our compiling.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, to ask a question, you may press star and 1 now. The next question is from the line of Shanti Patel from SP Investment. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is, our turnover will double in 22-23. Is it correct?
Well, that is the optimistic view, but yes, based on our existing capacities and based on what we have invested now, our turnover is expected to get double in 2 to 3 years' time. Let us see.
Correct. What will be our PAT margin at that time, and what will be our return on capital employed and return on equity, approximately?
Our EBITDA margin should be north of 15%. Our current internal estimation is somewhere between 16 to 18%. That's what we are targeting.
Right.
To achieve with this. And expected return on capital employed, that I'll have to actually estimate the number, but it would be again not to 20% based on the current.
Sorry, 20%.
19% exactly.
19%. That is return on capital employed, right?
Return on capital employed, that's the target.
What about return on equity?
Return on equity up to 20, because debt is not there, so expecting to be again, almost similar.
Around 20%.
Yeah, around 20%.
20%. Fine, that's all. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Karan Ramesh from Ashika Group. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, am I audible? Yeah, Manishji. So I had a question regarding something I read on the annual report where it was mentioned about the trade receivables. And in that note, I saw that there's some around 49 crores which has been pending for more than 180 days. I was just hoping if you could throw some color on that, like who are these customers and are we confident of receiving this eventually?
Yeah. See, those delays have happened in several, and the entire amount belongs to our dyes exports and majority, and some of that amount also belongs to domestic sales. But more than 40 crore is exports. We are 100% confident that each and every dollar or rupee is going to come and going to be received. Because there were also lockdowns in various countries such as Brazil, Honduras, and various other places where customers got delayed in paying. But we are very positive. We have seen the recovery coming fast in the current quarter. And we expect that every rupee of that would come back because those distributors and customers have been having long years of relationships with us. We know them. Our distributors also know the final end users very well, and all these amounts belongs to our distributors mainly because Kiri doesn't do much business directly with the end user. So we expect the entire amount to come to the company.
Maybe by this year, or it might take a little longer than that?
Maybe this year, before the 31st March. The target is to bring maximum back. These are all extended receivables due to current situation.
Okay. And just one last question from my side was what kind of capacity utilization we are at right now?
Right now, if I give you information on the current quarter, because last quarter was less than 40%, right? But the current quarter utilization, last quarter was around 45% capacity utilization for dyes, and even lower for intermediate. So it was overall less than 40% capacity utilization. But for this quarter, we expect the intermediate utilization to be almost 80 to 90%. And dyes also will go north to 60%. So this quarter would be a normalized quarter we are expecting.
Okay, that's good to hear, sir. That's all from my side.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Prashant Hajariwala, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello.
Yes, please.
Hi. My question is regarding our revenue contribution. How much contribution we are getting from textile industries currently, and how much it will be after the expansion is completed, and it will be in line?
If I give you the overall breakup, out of our total sales, almost 50% sales are for intermediates, okay, and almost 50% sales for dyes. Now, from dye sales of 50%, you can say that most of that relates to textile because almost 90% of those dyes are used in textile, right? So dye sales is purely linked with textile sales. Now, with new capacity kicking in, that portion will go down. So where we are 50-50 right now for dyes and intermediates, with intermediates expanding, and intermediates also non-dyes area intermediates, which I just mentioned about, we expect that intermediate portion would be more than 60% and dyes portion would be lesser. But again, textile dependency on our dye sales is going to be there because that is where the maximum usage is.
What about this 50% intermediate? Where do we see? It is almost always going towards textile industries only, right?
Yeah, those 50% out of the remaining 50%, again close to, you would say, post expansion, at least 70% to 75% would be used to make dyes. So eventually that will connect to textiles. And
altogether, even after expansion, we will have exposure to textile by around 70% kind of thing, right?
Yes, more than 75%. Let us say approximately 75% exposure, ultimate exposure to textiles is going to remain true.
Okay, so currently we are almost 100% kind of thing?
Yeah, almost 90% kind of a thing right now.
Okay. And what about the trend in our HFC and vinyl sulfone? Like, is it improving or it still remains stagnant?
I think they are at range bound right now. So vinyl sulfone is hovering around 170 to 180 rupees, and H acid is ranging between, you can say, 360 to 375 rupees. So it has been in this range last quarter. It is continuing to be in this range in the current quarter also.
And what will be what can we expect going forward for this?
I think based on the demand increasing and based on the exports of dyes increasing, we would expect that both of these raw materials before the end of this year should have at least another 5% increase. That's what we are expecting.
Okay. And is there any improvement in exports demand like this?
See, because the prices are also impacted by what price is prevailing in China, right? And the Chinese prices are also not increasing. And that's another reason that the Indian prices of HSL and vinyl sulfone are also in parallel to the Chinese prices and are not able to go higher. But the moment we see that the Chinese prices are going up, then Indian prices would also follow.
Okay. So is there any improvement we have seen after this corona crisis, this China against China movement kind of thing? We have seen any improvement in export side or any inquiry side?
Yes, exports are increasing, and this quarter overall export from India for dyes is expected to be normalized in this quarter compared to pre-pandemic. To give you the number, India exports reactive dyes every month in the range of 14,000 to 16,000 tons quantum, right? So let us say on a quarterly basis, you are expecting 45,000 tons of exports of reactive dyes, which is a major category of dyes out of India. That 45,000 ton might resume in the current quarter. That kind of demand has already come for exports. And domestic demand is reviving, but reviving at a slow pace. So as an industry, this quarter is expected to be actually very near to normalized quarter.
Okay, so next quarter we can be in green again, right, on the profit after tax and on the standalone entity?
Even in this quarter also expecting to be on green.
Oh, that's right. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Ashish Agarwal from Navis Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi Manish. I had two questions. The first one was I was noticing the gross margins during this quarter, which were down not just compared on a YOY basis, but even compared to Q1 when the volumes were down. Given what you just mentioned about the direction of selling prices of H acid and vinyl sulfone, what's the trajectory of gross margins that you expect for the next half of the financial year? That was the first question. The second question was the new capacities that you were referring to earlier in the call. What's the revenue potential for those capacities?
So to address your first question, the latest shrinkage of gross margin has happened due to increase of the raw materials, which has not been passed on to the sales prices, right? For example, acetic acid prices have increased compared to the earlier prices. Aniline has also gone up. So vinyl sulfone and H acid both have increased, but not to the extent of increase of those prices. So we expect that this quarter we would be able to increase and pass on whatever gross margin shrinkage that we had in last quarter to get to the normalized level, which is basically below 70% of the raw material cost compared to our sales price. So hopefully this quarter we should be able to pass on and have a little bit increase, which will cover up in the 5% which I have just mentioned as an expected price increase? That's the first question. Right. Your second question was relating to?
I was just asking you that the incremental capacities that are coming online, what's the potential for those?
Which are getting online at the current price level on an annual basis, we can expect minimum 400 to 500 crore additional.
I see. Okay.
Per year.
Okay. Thank you. That's it from me.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Rajendra Uppal, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, please. Yes.
Sir, advance Diwali wishes to you, sir.
You too, please. Thank you.
My doubt is, since it has been more than 4 months, judgment has been reserved. Sir, what is the maximum time in SIPC for the delivery of the judgment, sir? I mean, I think you must be aware from your legal team at least anything, so that they can't take 3 years, 4 years after it is reserved, no, sir?
Yeah, if you look at the general tendency of announcing judgments post-trial closures, that time frame ranges between 2 to 3 months as per the lawyers, as per the legal advice that we have received. And even if you look at our last Supreme Court judgment, which we received in 25 days. So the trial got over on September 25, and we got judgment somewhere around October 19, 20th, right? So there is not a fixed time frame. When you look at the average is ranging from 2 to 3 months, right? So this 4.5 months is above average. Now there is no definitive date from the court. There is no deadline or any statutory deadline from the court that any judgment has to be announced within certain time. It is not like that. It all depends on the complexity of the case. It all depends on the how lengthy the trial is and how long the trial is and the content of the trial. And to be fair, and our legal counsels also said that we have a complex case here, and probably court giving a verdict on the number, on the valuation, with such a large company, also happening probably first time in minority operation suit in Singapore, right?
Yes.
So and naturally court's expertise is not valuation, correct?
Mm-hmm.
They must have taken a little longer time, and the counsels are saying that, which means that they are diligently working on the judgment. And we hope to be positive that even though it's taking a long time, right, it would be a fair judgment.
Okay. What is the maximum time that you are expecting, sir, for the delivery of the judgment?
I am expecting any time. I mean, to the extent that we call lawyers daily. Now we started calling them 2 times. That can we expect tomorrow? That time.
Okay.
So I think we have high hopes, maybe curiosity like you, and with that we are chasing our lawyers to have feedback from them on daily basis actually.
Okay, sir. Okay. Thank you, sir. Yes.
Thank you. Reminder to the participants, to ask a question, you may press star and 1. The next question is from the line of Murthy Raju, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Sorry again. This is Murthy.
Yes, Murthy, please.
Sir, this is regarding the PLS scheme which Government of India has announced recently.
Yeah.
Are we qualifying for that scheme for the forthcoming project?
Yes. So that's pretty much on our radar, and there are 2. One is the PLI scheme announced by the Government of India, right? And there is another scheme which has come as a part of the industrial policy of Gujarat.
Okay.
So that is another benefit and probably one of the best industrial policy the state has ever announced. So there are a lot of incentives to the extent of 12% of your capital investments are given by the industry department of Gujarat also. So we are clubbing both. And in our new projects, we will try to maximize the new policy benefits that those are being given by central as well as state government, of course, definitely.
Okay. What about the same PLI or some benefits from the Gujarat government is going to cover the current expansion that recently you have completed?
No, that is not going to be covered. No, that is not. The one which you have just completed would not qualify for these new policy announcements. No.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Harsh Gupta from Ashika Group. Please go ahead.
Hi Manish, this is Harsh Gupta once again. I had a question about the timeline once the judgment is out. I think when we had last spoken, you had mentioned that there is a good chance that the Chinese company on the other side would appeal against the judgment, and then one more, it will go from SICC to Supreme Court, and by the time the money comes, it might be March, maybe the end of fiscal year 21. But now because we have delays of another couple of months at least, what is the timeline for any future appeals and actual cash coming to Kiri Industries?
So the clock starts for the appeal when the judgment is announced. So from the date of the judgment, the other party would have 30 days to file an appeal to the Supreme Court. So whenever judgment is announced, first 30 days would be the time frame that the other party would have to file an appeal. Post that, Supreme Court, based on our earlier experiences as well as in other cases which you see in Supreme Court, takes around 4 to 6 months to address, to hear, and to dispose appeal. So even if you try to be, let us say, 5 months and 1 month for them to go for an appeal since from the date of the judgment, you are looking at 6 months time frame. So when we talked earlier, we were expecting that the judgment would come somewhere around August, September, which has got delayed. So 6 months approximately was coming to around March. But if we talk now, even if we assume that the judgment comes in November, which takes 1 month for them to file till December, then the 1 quarter delay would definitely be there, and then you are looking at the extended time frame of June 2021.
Okay, so on that point, I just have one angle more to ask you about, Manish. So what happens, for example, because the 3rd July 2018 is when the valuation gets frozen. Do we have any interest component? So the reason I'm asking is it in their interest to maybe not appeal this time if they've been losing all the appeals, because they'll have to pay more interest then?
Yes, of course, the interest element is already there. An interest element would be part of this judgment. Actually, Kiri has demanded interest from the date of filing the writ, okay, which is from June 2015. But I'm sure court, even if the interest is allowed, we must get interest from the date of the judgment at least, which is July 2018. And we consider it to be fair, and I'm sure court is looking into it, and that was one of the points in the trial, during the trial. Right, so that interest then would be running, the meter would be running on them from the date of the judgment.
Okay, thank you. That makes sense.
But please understand that even if the other party goes to appeal, this would be the 3rd appeal on the case, and the right of Kiri to recover its dues is going to continue.
That makes sense.
There is not an automatic stay on the right of recovery from the Kiri's perspective once the judgment is out.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Kalpesh Verma, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Sir, Kalpesh here. I have one major question. To be a long-term investor, I have one major question that FCCBs are getting converted by January 2022. Their holding in the company will rise to 39% and your holding will go to 27%. Because of this, whether there will be any management changes?
No.
And are you at the liberty to name these FCCB holders?
Well, see, we have to consider as on today as the full conversion how we have announced at every quarter as a fully diluted stake. So as a promoter, I would be very happy to buy more equity in future whenever I get a chance, whenever I have financial ability to do so. But besides that, it is going to remain at a current level. But there is no threat or anything which relates to management change. No, I don't think so.
So can you name the current holders? As you have said in the last phone call that 3 FCCBs holders are right now. So can you name the FCCB holders?
Well, we will have records. We will take those names because they also change hands several times. Okay.
Yes.
So what is the current, whether 3, 4 same guys are then, we'll take those names and you send us a separate query, we'll be happy to answer.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
One another. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Go ahead, please.
Yeah. So one another question is, after this Dystar litigation is getting completed and before the sender going to appeal, whether are we going to demand certain amount to be deposited by sender before going to the appeal?
Of course.
What will be the portion, percentage-wise?
Well, we would demand at least 50%, if not lesser. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
At least 50% is fair. So we will definitely demand. It's up to the court. But Kiri side is going to definitely demand.
Okay, sir. So now you have shown that you have interest that you will buy shares more from the open market whenever you are in financial position. So can you give the timeline when that can be possible?
I don't have such timelines.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vijay Bhatia, an individual investor. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Manish.
Good afternoon.
I want to know that during the course of filing hearing by Senda in the Dystar matter regarding the valuation, have they attributed any number to the valuation of Dystar?
Well, there were 2 valuers, right? Both independent valuers. One was appointed from Senda, another was appointed from Kiri, right? And the numbers of those valuations are part of court submissions. Okay. And those numbers are confidential in the court, which are not existing anywhere else.
Okay.
Those 2 numbers from 2 valuers went through a lot of scrutiny. There were several joint meetings between both the valuers. There were submissions from both the valuers, affidavit from both the valuers. There were cross-examinations from both the valuers. Judges asked them a lot of questions also to both the valuers. Correct? So it has gone through the whole process.
Okay.
And both the valuers went through the scrutiny. Now it's up to the court to decide which number. Correct?
Okay.
That number is according to one valuer or the second valuer or neither of these valuers and a different number. So anything can happen in the court. It would be only speculation till the judgment comes.
Okay. So what you're saying is the company during the course of the legal counsel of the company during the course of arguments are aware of the numbers given by Dystar, by Senda, but as it is sub judice, it is confidential. The numbers cannot be made open.
Exactly.
Okay. And one more question, follow-up question regarding the deposit of amount. I'm sure you will definitely ask the court that they have to deposit some amount. Will the amount be made available to the company or will it be kept in escrow account?
Usually, based on the legal advice we got, it remains in escrow account.
Okay. So the company will not be able to lay hands on the money until the final order is come.
Exactly. It's only to get the commitment from the other party. If court allows that, if court orders that, it's up to the court. Court can also say that, well, there is no need for any deposit and we continue trial, or court may impose. It depends on the court. But a company would never have access to that.
Okay. Thank you, Manish. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Vishal Jaju from Tycoon Mindset. Please go ahead.
Hello, sir. Thank you for taking question again. Sir, just wanted to know, last quarter you said about you are, decreasing the number of employees with taking new technologies in hand. So, sir, are we seeing any improvement in the operational efficiencies? The decrease in labor are still going on, or are we facing any, operational problems as well?
See, right now we are not facing any operational problems in terms of labor. Number one,
okay.
Right? Whatever earlier plans, we are sticking to that. We are already, and we have already reduced a significant labor force. Correct? But
okay.
Today, number three, whatever labor that we need, all is available.
Okay.
And most of the labor has come back.
Okay.
To the extent that we have been getting calls for some more laborers who went from here, said that why don't you send buses? They would like to come back, right?
Okay.
So a large number of migrant workforce actually has come back.
Okay, so the labor issues which was there in the last quarter has almost been solved in this quarter, in the current quarter, right?
100% solved. There is no labor issue anymore in this quarter.
Okay. So the labor expense would be, back to normal compared to that of the last year, right? From the next year, in the next quarter, right?
Okay. So our target is to have little reduction, but conservatively you can say we are back to normal.
Okay. And sir, will we be need in any working capital for this coming quarter? Because most of our debtors have been increased due to COVID. So will we be in need of working capital loan?
No, we don't use any working capital loan from any banks or any other working capital. So we don't. What we would do is we would generate enough profit and enough EBITDA to bring down the working capital to normalized level. So only way for us is to make profits and not to inject extra working capital. No, that's not what we will do.
Okay, so no debt infusion will be there.
Oh, no debt. We will only focus on improving our profits in next 2 quarters and try to reach to normalcy as soon as we can.
Okay, that's it, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Shanti Patel from SP Investments. Please go ahead.
Sir, I wanted to know what is our market share in India as far as our product is concerned. And number 2, can you name the name of valuers who was appointed by us and the opposite party?
Well, if you look at your first question was related to market share, right?
That's right.
Right. So if you look at Kiri as a group, which means that Kiri, JV, and at a DICE level, right, in export segment, we would have almost 15 to 20% market share as a Kiri as a group, including standalone and the exports of JV when you put together, right? Intermediates, we have major market share, right? Intermediate Kiri would be definitely more than 20% of HSL and vinyl sulfone, sold India or elsewhere. So intermediate market share is larger. DICE market share is relatively lesser, right? I'm not talking about market share of DICE, which is 21% of almost 20% of global market share, but that is not what I am referring to currently because Kiri very soon is expected no longer to be the shareholder of that company. Okay, so that's the market share portion.
But sir, after expansion, our market share will double.
No, because we are adding more products.
Okay. New product. Fine.
So new products. So in the same product ranges, our market share is not going to change.
No,
But
that's
of
correct.
course, in overall market share of intermediates definitely will increase, but with addition of new products.
Correct. And the second question, sir.
Right. So that relates to your
First.
margin question, right?
Yeah.
And sorry, your second question was related to?
The name of the valuer appointed by us and the opposite party.
Right, the name of the valuer. So from our side, there was a valuing firm named Accuracy, which is based in London.
Okay.
Accuracy was appointed as an independent valuer from Kiri side, right? And Dystar appointed PwC. What PwC?
PwC. Fine. Right. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. As there are no further questions, I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments.
Thank you all for participating today. We'll talk to you next quarter, hopefully, with better results and better numbers. Wish you all happy Diwali. All the best. Thank you.
Thank you. On behalf of Kiri Industries Limited, that concludes this conference. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your lines.